10 problems only smart people have. Becoming smarter is an ongoing process, but with intelligence comes new sets of problems that only smart individuals face, and in this video we'll explore exactly what those difficulties are you're about to learn. How becoming a genius can bring its own unique set of challenges. Tune into our upcoming series for ideas on fine-tuning your mind every day and staying ahead of the curve. 10. Dealing with instant gratification. If you're smart, then you know that instant gratification can be a double-edged sword. It often seems like an easy way to get through a challenging day, or maybe just keep up with the pace of life in general, but it is detrimental in the long run. Those who give in too easily to instant gratification end up getting caught in an endless loop, jumping from video to video, story to story, and scrolling endlessly without ever actually achieving anything worthwhile. It becomes an addiction that can be hard to break away from, but if you have the wisdom and foresight needed to appreciate these dangers, then you can use your knowledge of instant gratification wisely. As short bursts of satisfaction and pleasure meant only for moments that truly call for it. 9. How to battle your ego. Battling our egos requires a certain degree of emotional intelligence. The more we learn about the power of our minds and the ways in which emotions can become deeply connected to our behavior, the more empowered we can be to take full control over our own lives. It is important to be aware when your ego is controlling you. Comparison and superiority can often begin to creep in as soon as we start comparing ourselves to others. This unchecked behavior can lead an individual down a path that is full of impulsivity and poor decision-making, all driven by the ego's strong desire to protect us from perceived threats or danger. In order to win this battle, one must be willing to acknowledge their flaws and weaknesses, apologize when necessary, and accept different perspectives, no matter how uncomfortable or unfamiliar they may feel. With continued effort and learning, we come ever closer to conquering the lingering shadows of our egos. 8. When to be ignorant now. It can be overwhelming to have so much knowledge at our fingertips, and the paradox of choice means that we can easily become paralyzed by the sheer volume of information in these frenzied times. It is essential to recognize when it is best to be ignorant, rather than attempting to take on too much. Being aware of our own limitations allows us to focus on specialization, which has been a cornerstone of human development for thousands of years. When faced with an abundance of decisions, instead of trying to learn everything about all topics, it is wise to narrow down our scope and dedicate ourselves to focusing on honing a small collection of specific skills or researching that one particular thing in great detail. This will save us from wasting our precious time attempting something that we may never master. 7. How to challenge yourself creatively. As a smart person, the fear of stagnation can be overwhelming, and you often need to challenge yourself creatively to feel satisfaction without constantly creating something new and engaging. 1. Can feel empty and without purpose. To avoid this, apply yourself to tasks that might feel daunting or uncomfortable. For example, if you are 80% comfortable with painting, explore what increasing that comfort level might look like, attempting a portrait on canvas or rotating between oil paint and watercolor, so that your skills stretch beyond what you know. By challenging yourself creatively in such ways, you can flaunt your creative muscles and make progress towards becoming an engaged creator instead of a passive consumer. 6. Giving up control. Giving up control to someone else can be a daunting prospect for any person. Hoping to produce quality work, you've put in the dedication and hard work it takes to become an expert in your field, so watching someone else come in with what feels like a lack of respect is devastating. It's hard not to feel helpless or even desperate when trying to trust somebody else with something that means that much to you. Every person's instinct is different: tight control or loose reins. Either way, if you're smart and know how the project should be done, know that it's okay for you to offer gentle guidance without misusing your power over others. After all, no one wants to do their job feeling unappreciated or inadequate, especially after investing time and effort into building expertise. 5. High expectations. High expectations can be a double-edged sword. On one hand, setting high expectations is important if we want to achieve our goals in life. But it's also possible to become overconfident, expecting success even when the odds don't favor us. This naivete can cause us to overlook pitfalls or overlook warning signs and prevent us from making sound decisions. That doesn't mean we need to give up on our ambitions, but rather that we need to stay grounded and weigh our options, allowing room for some failure as well as successes along the way. High expectations are great, but we should never forget that life often has its own agenda which needs to be taken into account in order for us to truly understand our situation. For you're afraid to look stupid. Fearing to look stupid is an all too common phenomenon, as we are constantly aware that our knowledge and capabilities are being judged. This fear can be worsened if you are actually intelligent. There's the added risk of being seen as someone who dropped the ball or didn't wisely utilize their knowledge. To avoid this, many can find themselves in the throes of overthinking and perpetually question if they really thought of everything and checked all the angles. While it's important to watch out for mistakes and practice thoroughness, there is a need to step back from these feelings once in a while and remind yourself that it's not always necessary to search for perfection in every situation instead of exhausting your resources overthinking. Take a breath and remember not to take yourself too seriously. 3. Overconfidence. Overconfidence can be an attractive quality, masquerading as intelligence. It's easy to forget the important basics when you feel like you have it all figured out. Pie charts and tutorials become irrelevant and you believe that everything works the same way. However, skipping those fundamentals can cause real problems, costing time, energy, and resources when it inevitably fails to go as planned. To prevent yourself from encountering such situations, take extra care to thoroughly understand not only the intended outcomes but also the fundamentals that make them possible. 2. You sometimes have trouble relating to others. Working with others who don't execute at your level can be a demanding experience, and for those who struggle to relate to others, it's even more challenging. You dread having conversations that you know will fall flat and lead nowhere, so it comes as no surprise when you have trouble collaborating. In a teamwork environment, it's easy to get frustrated when your efforts are impeded by other team members' lack of skill and knowledge, but figuring out how to find common ground is a crucial step in overcoming this issue. Learning how to take more initiative while practicing compassionate communication with colleagues can be beneficial in order to restore and strengthen relationships within the team. When you lose interest in something after you figure it out, being smart can feel like a curse when it comes to certain types of tasks it's easy to become disinterested and bored after you figure something out and the task becomes repetitive. That's why, for some intelligent people, the idea of performing brain-dead, mundane jobs just to earn a paycheck is not all that appealing. You recognize how foolish it would be to tap into your brilliant talents just for some simple tasks that don't require any real mental effort, and yet it still feels wrong to even be asked to do something like that. Despite this sentiment, however, sometimes we have no other alternative than to take on these types of jobs in order to make ends meet, even if they can be frustrating and dull. It's important to remember that even the most intelligent of people need a way to make money. Having this kind of perspective helps us better prioritize our time and resources, as well as appreciate the tiny victories along the journey. Being smart isn't all roses. There are numerous pitfalls that can befall intelligent people. Knowing our own strengths and weaknesses helps us to develop the skills necessary to overcome those struggles, while recognizing that at times, understanding our limitations is just as important as using our intelligence. Ultimately, it's up to us to decide how we want to use our knowledge. Being smart means having the ability to make wise decisions and use our intelligence to its fullest potential. With the right mindset and effort, anyone can succeed in reaching their personal and professional goals, no matter how smart or not they may be. So while being intelligent can certainly have its advantages, it's important to remember that everyone has their own unique struggles to overcome, whether you're tackling a project, having a conversation with someone, or just getting through the day-to-day grind. Remember to stay humble and recognize that even for the smartest person in the room, success can still be difficult to come by. Good luck. Don't forget to subscribe my channel.